Brendan Murphy here, guys. This is a response to Robert Reich's recent video on the 4 ways he believes Trump is trying to control the media. 4 techniques. Robert, let's break them down one by one. Number 1, he berates the media and he tries to turn the public against it. He criticizes it, he calls them scum and lies and disgusting, and hurts their feelings, probably. So, let's see. 9/11, 7/7, Madrid, Boston, Sandy Hook, San Bernardino, Pizzagate, the global pedophile networks, child trafficking networks, satanic ritual abuse networks, Clinton and Bush connections to those networks, and the global drug trade. And you urged people to support Hillary. Let's see. Palestine and Gaza, the illegal Israeli occupation, the CDC MMR autism cover-up exposed by the whistleblower William Thompson. The list goes on. Your media has lied about, distorted, and covered up the reality of all of these things. I'd say that does indeed qualify them as scummy, disgusting liars, to use Trump's terminology. Yep, I reckon he nailed it. Meanwhile, the alternative media has been sharing the information about these subjects that has been suppressed by your precious sellout corporate media. That is why alternative media is exploding in popularity and your lamestream outlets are dying in the arse. Point number 2, you claim that he limits media access. He avoids news conferences. He's blocked media from travelling with him and knowing who he's meeting with. What, like the time he went to dinner and didn't tell the press, and the press lost their freaking minds? Do you realise how shrill and ridiculous your precious mainstream media outlets look at this point? Personally, I wouldn't want the MSM vultures travelling with me either, since I prefer not to associate with pathological liars or establishment prostitutes or psychopaths. Furthermore, Robert, you yourself have written, according to Reuters, not sure if I should believe them, that Trump wants to move the White House press conferences outside into a larger room, which would allow the administration to fill seats with so-called alternative right fringe journalists and right-wing social media and Trump supporters and so forth. Yeah, because the last thing that we want is for balanced media access to the president or to have balanced public discourse. We can't have alternative perspectives or reporting taking place and making life too complicated for our puny brains and undermining the wonderful, monofocal, blatantly partisan viewpoints promulgated by establishment mouthpieces like, for example, the wonderful Washington Post. Additionally, everyone in the alternative media knows that alphabet agencies like the CIA determine much of the news content your mainstream outlets promote in order to engineer public perception and serve hidden agendas, and it's insulting to the intelligence to continue with this absurd charade of free and independent journalism under threat, as if that's what the MSM represents. It doesn't. You can't be that naive. And that's why it's dying, because people with intelligence and integrity are turning away in droves. I mean, if your media clowns did their job properly in the first place, I wouldn't have felt compelled to create something like the Global Freedom Movement media entity. There would have been no need to create independent, truth-based media if that's what mainstream outlets really were, would there? Your third point. You say Trump threatens the media. Isn't that a bit of a dramatic blanket statement? Hyperbole, anyone? To quote you, quoting him, apparently, he plans to open up our libel laws so that we can sue them, the media, so that when they write purposively negative and horrible and false articles, we can sue them and win lots of money. Yeah, because Trump really needs the extra cash, doesn't he? Hey, Melania, we're down to our last billion. What do you say we sue the Times for a couple mil? Personally, I would consider suing someone who defamed me on a national level as well, with a false article or false claims, if that's what happened. Libel is a serious issue, and the media should be held accountable when it oversteps the line and promotes falsity, as your mainstream outlets so consistently do. And your fourth and final point, Trump bypasses the media and communicates with the public directly.
Bypass the media? How can we spin what he says if he has a direct line to the people?
And you mention his tweets and rallies and so on and so forth, which supposedly allow him, to quote you again, to lie directly to the public with impunity. That's funny, I thought that's what the mainstream media's job was. That's all they ever seem to do. And about every major, large-scale fraud or cover-up that was assigned to the mainstream media by government has been promoted with glee, with relish and reckless abandon. You say that responsible media should hold the powerful accountable by correcting their statements and asking them hard questions and reporting on what they do. Well, it's a shame your mainstream media outlets don't fit that description then. Your only interest in asking hard questions to a Donald Trump is in trying, it seems, to replace him with the next Democrat puppet in this absurd game of theatre for the unconscious masses, still stuck in the two-party mind control paradigm. Trump says on Twitter, "Look, I don't like tweeting, I have other things I could be doing, but I get very dishonest media, very dishonest press, and it's my only way that I can counteract. Frankly, if I had to deal with your press, your media, I would do the same. I would go straight to the people, direct line, no middleman." In concluding your video, you claim that historically these four techniques have been used by demagogues to erode the freedom of independence and of the press, and forebodingly you add,
Donald Trump seems intent on doing exactly this.
I guess the demagoguery of Clintons and Obamas and so forth doesn't matter, that's alright. And didn't you notice that the freedom and independence and integrity of the press was already dead? Real tyrants control the press and silence dissent, a situation already firmly embedded in your country. And yet you complain that Trump wants to bring additional media perspectives to the people instead of further streamlining and simplifying the narrative that is approved by the established corporatocracy and promoted by mainstream shills and puppets and mouthpieces who've all been bought and paid for. Robert, it's time to get with the program and join us in the 21st century. Mainstream media is a dying institution going the way of the dinosaurs. Why? Because it can't be trusted. Because it serves vested interests. Because it's been so corrupt and so bought and so broken for so long now that we simply cannot afford to rely on them any longer. Brendan Murphy signing off for Global Freedom Movement.